Well, our Reverend Gay is off on a journey this morning to Sedona. Can't think of a nicer place to go. And she is with a group of women. They are at a resort there in Sedona at a retreat. I'm sure she will come back re-inspired with wonderful ideas for us. And I think that the beauty of life today, as we see it, and the beauty of life this morning is that Spirit is flowing through each one of us and to each one of us this morning as idea. And each one of us has the opportunity when that little bing goes off in our head and says, this is my idea. This is this week's idea. Think about it. And think about it and see if it can add beauty and joy to your life. And we say yes to that. Because we are dedicated ourselves just for this hour to move in the flow of Spirit. And to let that be new. The lesson this morning is called Security in a Changing World. Everything has changed. There's always change. Nothing is ever the same. And so to know that we are secure in this world that we live in is a really important lesson. I think it's one of the first things we have to learn, that there's nothing to be afraid of. That as we come into a teaching like this, we become aware of a new concept for most people, not all people, but for most people coming into a new thought church of any kind. The idea of Spirit and what it is and how it expresses in us and through us is a new idea. Because most of us come out of a background of an older experience of religiousness that told us that God was a great old guy sitting up on a cloud. My God sat on a cloud with a book, a notebook. And as a little kid, I spent a lot of time afraid. Because one thing, for some unknown reason, I thought God lived in my closet, in my bedroom. And I thought God was watching me all the time, and whenever I messed up, went down in that little book. And I believed that. And I believed that for a long time. And when I walked into a metaphysical church and found out that God wasn't a man up in the sky, I was so relieved. And in my mind, I was able to throw away that little book because I knew as a little kid growing up, you really can't do anything too awful. And it's really ridiculous that we grow up with fear and we grow up with a concept that I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I never want to do what the grown-ups want me to do, which is, clean your room and rake the grass. But you have to anyway because they said so. But if you're not happy about it, that goes in the book, And so here I was, and I don't think I was so different than anybody else, growing up with a concept other than what I truly believe now is the loving, creative energy that is ever present, always available, always responding to my call, always responding to your call. And the interesting thing about this is that the way our minds work, Spirit working through us all of the time, acting upon our belief systems, we really are in charge of our lives. And so we can look at our own experience and say, there was something in me that opened to me to this experience. Now, am I loving it? Am I blessing it? or am I mad as a hornet about it? And how am I responding to it? So I found a book in my bookcase. Often when I'm at a loss for the continuity of a talk, I will go to my bookcase. And I found a book that you probably all have in your bookcases. It's called The Four Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. Do you all have that? Yes. I figured you would. And that we have all read Edwene. We have, many of us have heard her talk a few times. She always tells the same stories. They're in her book. They're wonderful stories because they prove the power and the resilience of the individual and their God experience. And Edwene is kind of bigger than life. And her experiences are worth remembering. And they're worth thinking about because so many of us don't think quite big enough because there's no limitation on the God presence. And the vastness of the universe is here for our experiencing. And we make our goals, we set our goals as little ones because every time we pray, there's something intuitive within us that knows every time I pray, I'm asking for change. And the last thing anybody really wants to do is change. We'll sit in our fear forever, but we don't want to change. So Edwene has got it down. She goes, if she finds out she's afraid of anything, she just goes for it. And her stories are pretty amazing. In this very room next Sunday, we're going to start a 3-week, I think it's 3-week, little seminar. We're going to vision. We're going to vision with an expert. He's on tape. His name is Michael Beckwith. And his tapes are awesome. And they will guide us into opening through the visioning process to a greater opportunity than we've ever given ourselves before. That we have something in us way down deep that we've really always wanted to do. But have you sat recently and asked yourself, I think I'm going to set some goals, and how big do I want these goals to be? And where am I starting? Am I starting with my own limitations, or am I starting with a God principle that has no limitations? How am I setting these goals? Where do I want to express? How do I want to express? So next week we're going to start doing that. If you haven't signed up, do. There's a deal over here to sign up. And we're going to all bring a sandwich or something, an apple, to tide us over to a real lunch. We're going to gather after church and we're going to vision. And as we vision, the ideas that come up are really amazing because they're the ideas that are based on the vastness of life. They're not locked in to our own limitations that we all create our own glass ceiling, I think. And every once in a while we bump our heads on it and then we just kind of snicker down and say, well, I'm not going to go for that. And sometimes you'll have people that are fabulous singers, but they're afraid to ever stand up and sing a solo. Great being in a choir, great singing in the shower, not so much on a stage in front of 500 or 1,000 people. But a beautiful voice, that voice never gets heard because there's fear sitting there that says, not good enough. But when you're visioning with the divine, there's no not good enough in there. And I challenge you to think this week about what's going on in your mind that would just be such a wonderful thing. such a wonderful thing to do, such a great place to go. And as those visions come up within us and we start to think on them, they become goals. And Ed Wein is great on goals. And I'll bet that everybody that has this book and has read it will remember this story. This is the first story I ever heard her tell years ago. It was long before she had written anything, and it was long before I'd ever really got a hold on prosperity principles. And there sat Edwina. She always sits on the stage. She never, stands. She always just sits and relaxes and talks to you like you're in her living room. She's very funny. And she absolutely knocks the socks off of you the first time you see her, because she will sit there and look at everybody and she will say, "Good morning. My name is Edwina, and I am a woman of power." And as she sits there, yeah, she's a woman of power. I mean, you can feel this power. I used to sit after I would watch her, so I've seen her quite a few times, and think, how can I give myself that power? How can I live that power? That's God power. She's got squirting out of her. Everybody in the room can feel it. She's got it because she believes she's got it. She's got it because she's got something going on with her, a divine partnership that's going on with her, that every once in a while she gives herself a new challenge to grow and expand and to share her purpose, which is, her purpose is to support everybody on planet Earth in the prosperity consciousness. It's not exactly her wording. It's my wording, but that's what the deal is. That her purpose is to support everybody in prosperity. And that's been her purpose for a very long time. So I'm saying, what's my purpose? Is my purpose big enough? Is it big enough? When was the last time I changed it? I added to it to make it more valuable to myself and to this planet. There's a lot of stuff going on on this planet today that we would not drop into the category of security. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, where you live on this planet, there's just a lot of stuff going on that makes you wonder. And so here we are, you and I, filled with a thing called God power, filled with a thing called wisdom, with a process that you and I know and understand, the flow of spirit moving through us. And it really does keep our hearts beating. And it really does keep our lungs pumping. It really does express through us and manifest through us. So how are we using this? How are we looking at the actions of this planet, and how are we responding to them? Are we depending on the God principle that says, I will never leave you, I will never forsake you? I love that passage because I trust that. I figure that the one thing I can trust on this planet is the God presence, because that's the one thing that I know how it works in and through me, and I know that when I call on it, it will respond. And I want you to know that too, because it's in that knowing that is our security. And every day we should take some time to start our days and say yes to that divine principle moving through us. And give ourselves permission to listen to it whether it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, a half an hour, however long in your life it works, take that time and listen to Spirit and ask it, what can I do today, Lord? What can I do today that will make a difference, that will keep me secure in this world that looks like, some days it looks like it's going nuts, some days it looks like it's just fine. But I can't live in the ups and downs, so what do? I don't listen to the news anymore because it just upsets me. And I have 2 children in my world, beautiful kids that you know, and they will check with me to see if I know about things. Have you heard this? Have you heard that? Have you heard what Congress is doing? No. Well, then they'll tell me. And I don't have to sit with all of that information, just a little information to know that Congress has done its thing again, and I may or may not agree with it, but I don't have to worry about it because I'm secure in the God presence within me. And I know that's for you. Everybody is the same. We all carry this energy, and it always responds to all of us. So secure, you bet. You bet. Growing, absolutely. Absolutely. We are growing. We are here. We come together and we get these new ideas or old ideas that we've heard a million times, still trying to get them, but we've heard them. And we hear them every week. Some of us take classes because we can't get enough of it on Sunday morning. Some of us read books all the time. Some of us choose to serve through the church or wherever. But we're serving God. Wherever we're giving, wherever we're always serving the divine. And that keeps us together inside, and it keeps us at peace inside, and we can know absolutely, I'm A-okay. And we hear what we believe by what we say. It's been my premise for a lot of years that if I hear myself say something 3 times, it's coming from a belief. And then I can go back and I can check it and see if I like that belief or not, because I know in my heart of hearts that my beliefs manifest in my life. And if I hear myself say something 3 times, I better take a look, because I know that the creative process of the universe, the power of God, is moving on that belief that I have in my personal belief system, and that I'm going to see that out picture somehow in my life. I don't have to, because I know the power of prayer, and I know that I can change that. So I'm always at choice. You are always at choice. I had an episode with a flu bug. Some of you also had an episode with a flu bug. Some of you didn't. And I can look at that and I can say to myself, there's still something in me that believes in contagion. After all of these years, what do you know? I still believe in contagion. First thing on my prayer list is to get rid of my belief in contagion. Whatever's left of it, whatever I believe about it, I want that healed. And however I learned about it doesn't matter. It's just that obviously I've still got a belief in contagion because I caught the flu. I don't want to ever experience that again. Enough. I choose to heal. My prayer is for perfect health for me, and when we're praying for ourselves, we're praying for everyone. If we want to be secure in this world, let's pray for the good for everyone. And every day, let's have a prayer going out from everyone that says, every leader on this planet Earth is a part of the God presence, hears the message from the God presence, that still small voice, acts upon that guidance from the God presence for the highest good of everybody on this planet. I don't have to know all of those people, and I don't have to know what's good for people in Italy or France or Hoboken. But I do know that there is a power greater than I am, greater than all of us together, that has created the universe, that can create peace on this planet. And I personally want to tie in to that peace and know that everybody on this planet has a right to peace and power and prosperity and abundance and love. And that's what I pray for. I hope you all pray for that every day. In one way, it keeps us out of it. There's nothing personal about this. It's just a desire that everybody on this planet, everybody, moves in joy and in power and in love. That the creative process, the God process, is being used for a powerful, positive experience. Every leader hears that message from the divine and acts upon it. Highest good for everyone on planet Earth. That's my idea of security. If you're interested in what Eric Butterworth has to say, kind of not talking about what Eric Butterworth is saying, but this is our book of the month. And my topic that Gay assigned me before she left was security in a changing world. And I think that has to come from ourselves, that we have to hook into the divine and just absolutely know our oneness and know our personal power. My chapter in this book was all about insurance and the stock market and savings accounts and all of this stuff, which boiled down to what is the idea that you and I have about our finances. Are we saving for a rainy day, or are we saving for a wonderful opportunity that's going to come up anytime to invest in, or a wonderful opportunity to go to Tahiti and spend a month on the beach, or whatever it is, but that we save not for the rainy day, but we save for joy. We save for opportunity. We save for expansion. That's what this chapter is. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought, this is so huge. This security in a changing world is so huge that each one of us has the opportunity to not only see our own path in a new way, which is absolutely walking consciously with our God all of the time and listening to that guidance and doing it. You know, we pray for guidance, and then often the answer that we get back is not what we expected. And I often, the thing that I so remember was back in the day, everybody smoked because you had to, because you were cool. You smoked. And so everybody I knew smoked, so I learned to smoke. And of course I got hooked. So for a few years, I was addicted to a lovely thing called smoking, which is not healthy, but I was cool. So I would start the funny little coughs. You know, people that smoke a lot, you have to get funny little coughs. I had this funny little cough. And I couldn't get rid of the cough, so I would pray to my God, and I would say, basically, heal me. And I would get this message back. Still small voice that got louder and louder and louder, and it said, stop smoking. That was not the answer I wanted. I just wanted to stop coughing, to stop having problems with my sinus. I didn't want to change because I had to be cool. But the day came when I took a drag on a cigarette because I had been praying on this quite a while. And I took this wonderful drag on the cigarette, which addicted people will do. And I thought my head was going to burn up off of my head. My sinuses filled up with fire. My eyes filled up with fire. My whole head filled up with fire. And I thought my head was going to explode. And I said, okay, I will stop smoking. And I did. I did. At that time, I was so addicted, it's a shame to say. I had 2 cartons of cigarettes. I always had 2 cartons in my closet because if you're addicted to something, you cannot run out. And I never ran out. Threw them out. Got the pack out of my purse, threw it out, never smoked again. Ever. Now, I choose to learn with ease and grace. And so, if you choose to learn with ease and grace, you have to listen to that small voice and do what it tells you. Because if you are asking for an answer, it will tell you. It won't do anything if you don't practice the answer. But if you keep praying for it, you're going to keep getting an answer. And it's going to be a little bit stronger every time you get the answer. And the day will come when, you just get hit over the head by a 2x4 and you will hear that still small voice. It will not be still, it will not be small, and you would have saved yourself a lot of trouble and a lot of pain if you had quit doing whatever it told you to quit doing in the first place. Because you will get your answer. It will be about change. Always our answers are about change. And it's always for our highest good. Are we secure in our lives? Are we secure in this changing world? You bet. You bet. We have a guidance system that absolutely will not send us astray. If we listen to it, think about it, act upon it, we will miss the heavy bumps in the road. And if we hear ourselves say something 3 times, it really kind of behooves us to listen to what we're saying. Because you know what? We have a pattern set that ultimately is going to manifest in our lives if we don't pay attention. And our guidance just comes in, and it's almost like if you happen to believe in angels, there's a choir sitting up there that applauds every time you get it and you move to heal. And that's what we do. And this is a personal, beautiful, personal relationship with our God. It takes care of us, but we have to take care of us too. We have to pay attention. So make your choices. Think about getting a nice big vision this week. Come over next Sunday and join us And we're going to take those visions and we are going to set them up as goals. And we're going to have incredible things happen. If you've got Edwene in your bookcase, get her out and read this book again. It's just amazing. I was going to talk about it, but I talked about something else, so my time's up. But I want you to know that this journey we're on, this incredible journey we're on, it just gets better and better and better. It never gets over. We never stop growing. We never get the last message. We're dealing with infinite intelligence in here. Infinite. So infinite intelligence has infinite ideas for every single one of us. Just about the time you get one thing just really settled in and you feel really confident about it, here comes the next one. Because there's so much creativity in this universe, and it's all good. It's all good. We call upon it, it will respond. If you like to drum, we're drumming here every Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. Fabulous experience. Dina is our leader, and Fahey. Meet her after the service this morning if you enjoy drumming. Come and be a part of it. It's incredible. The energy that's building in that group. It's incredible. Next Sunday, opportunity to vision together. Come on over. Think about it. Expand your goal list. On Thursday mornings, second and fourth Thursday mornings, I have just a little group that comes into this room, and we are reading a book, and it's pretty interesting, and there's some great ideas to put to work. Gay is starting a wonderful class to teach you the basics. If you're ready to expand your world, that class that Gay is presenting is fabulous. You want to be in it because you will have new ideas pouring over you to accept and to start living. This teaching is a growing, expanding, experiencing, fabulous teaching. It doesn't conflict with anything. I retired about 10 years ago. I had a church for 25 years of my own down in Mission Valley. I used to love to see renegade Catholics walk in my door. Because you know what? We're not in conflict with any of that. But the Catholics come in with absolute belief. Some of us had to whomp up some belief and move with these principles to really get it, to really get going. But Catholicism has this basis of faith. So do a lot of other religions. But there's something here, something personal here that is magnificent. And it's all based upon personal experience with the divine. And that divine never leaves us, and it never forsakes us, and it always moves for highest good. Thank you for coming this morning. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being receptive. Love the energies here, don't you? It's beautiful. Thank you. Susie?